Some people might be able to judge from our accent where this is taking place. It is in Stuttgart, Germany.
Ja.
I think we were in Rome.
We're in Benstown.
Yes, that's it.
That's
You
right.
are in Benstown.
That's correct.
And we know what brought you here. It's the Tab Reloaded show in Ludwigsburg,
That's right.
which you joined with the Killer Dillers. And how about the Killer Dillers? How
By
did
the
they?
way, this is Kevin and this is Juan.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Probably it's labeled down here.
Yeah.
Kevin Salon and Juan Villafane.
I always use French interpretation of my name, yes. Okay.
Okay, so how about the Killer Dillers? When did they get formed? And
That's a good question.
2008 it was an idea, and January 2009 I think we solidified it, and we've been going strong. And since, well, I guess we really came together as a team late in 2000. No, middle of 2009. ILHC 2009.
I think that's the first time we presented something together.
Yeah, that's when we officially presented ourselves as a 6-person ensemble.
great.
That's a very young group. So
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. It's probably the youngest right now.
I happen to be the oldest in the group, so yes, the group is the youngest.
Okay, so, and what's a diller? We know what a killer is, but a diller, I don't know.
Is a expression that
Okay.
used to be like part of slang in the 30s, and
Jive talk.
yeah, you would say something like killer there is something outstanding, or like really good or something like that.
Yeah, that cat over there, he's a killer. He's a killer.
Yeah, and like there's a movie called Killer Dealer, and it's just like it has no plot whatsoever. It's just like one number after the other in a theater, and actually you have it's not the White Lindy Hoppers actually, are they like Hopper Maniacs, Harlem Hopper Maniacs or something like that's the name they had. I don't remember.
But it was Frankie Manning's group after What is in the Hoppers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is the one with the palm trees in the back? And with the big aerials.
But if you go on YouTube and just look up Killer Dealer, you can find that clip, as well as you go to our website, killdillers.com. You can actually, there's a great excerpt, a little description of exactly what is a killer dealer.
Okay, great.
But in general, it's just like, it's an expression, it's a cool expression, and it relates back to Frankie Manning, relates back to the Whitey's Lindy Hoppers, and it just kind of brings out the feeling of the whole jazz era, which is what we're about, 20s, 30s, 40s.
Also, he has a collection of songs that mention killer dealers. And
I think right now my collection's up to about 15 songs.
Oh.
All of them use the word killer dealer in one way or another.
So
Okay.
there you go.
Okay.
that's Killer Dealer. Okay.
Now we know more. And since you all travel a lot, how do you manage to get the Killer Dealers coordinated?
This is the magic of the interwebs.
It's a great mystery. Juan's from Argentina,
Cool.
Sharon's from Australia,
Yeah.
Nathan and Vita are from New York, Joe and I are currently residing in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Still down.
Still down. So we get together whenever we can, wherever we can.
But we get together a lot online.
The intertubes.
In the intertubes, in the space between the tubes and the webs.
Yes. Recording a lot in the cloud.
That's right. That is out there.
Yes.
Yeah, we learn from videos that normally are inverted because you do it with your computer. So this is my left, I mean my right, and then we learn choreography that way.
Okay, great. And in your choreographies, you take parts of old shows also, don't you?
Not just part.
Yeah.
We actually do full recreation.
Well,
Okay.
it depends. Sometimes we do recreations, which is a tradition that I think we got from the Harlem Hotshots. Oh, actually the Rhythm Hotshots.
Yeah, originally the Rhythm Hotshots.
The Rhythm Hotshots.
So now the Harlem Hotshots.
Yes. And then sometimes we do completely original choreo. We're always inspired by something else. But and sometimes we take little pieces from different choreographies, and you can.
It's almost like it's the dancer's equivalent of quoting. When a writer quotes someone, they actually quote exact sentence or phrase that another author uses. As dancers, we have to do a dance quote. And oftentimes it's a challenge, and when other people watch your routine, if they can go, wait a second, you're referencing that, and you're like, ah, so they know the clips.
Yeah, so sometimes it's just like it's like a little wink to someone who might know in the audience. Now, sometimes they cheer for something, it's like, oh, they got it. It depends if they watch a movie, they see that famous dancer or whatever.
That's more of a side note. I mean, the real reason is because we're inspired by that movement, and it works really well choreographically.
Yeah, but for instance, we do the Berry Brothers, which is the reason we went down Reloaded, and we try to do the same thing they did. That doesn't mean that we can do the same thing.
We've worked on 3 numbers from them. Their Fascinating Rhythm number, which is a YouTube Fascinating Rhythm, Berry Brothers, you can see that. We also do Bury Me Not. Well, actually, we did that last summer at Harangue.
You can find it on YouTube by Berry Brothers Balcony, I think, because they see the ending and you will see why it's called Balcony. Yeah.
And then we also did You Never Know.
You Never Know. And that will be labeled as Berry Brothers LBG.
Which is from the movie Lady Be Good.
Ah, okay.
So there you go.
Okay, and to be able to quote, you need some source, right?
Exactly.
So I guess you do quite some research. Do you do it on the web, or do you have access to some archives, or where do you find the materials also?
Right now that you have YouTube.
Phenomenal resource.
Before that, I was waiting for months until a VHS would come to my home back in Buenos Aires, and we had like a minute of dancing in a really boring movie, so it took years to get together all the information. Right now it's so much easier, and things keep on coming. Like now, because you can post it online, more and more people start to put their collections online and sharing, and every other month you will search for the same dancers, and there's going to be new videos out there. So YouTube, that's how you do it.
One of the reasons we do recreations is a way to access or touch the original dancers
that we cannot do anymore because they pass away.
We're inspired by them, but they're not all of them. Most of them are not around anymore, so we don't get the flavor. But when you actually go through the process of recreating, you put that motion in your body, and you start to understand at a physical level what's actually happening more than just stories.
Yeah, I believe that recreation is not an end. It's just a mean to get to understand what they were doing. We talk about it, and we kind of joke a little bit about it, of the difference between routines that are inspired by so and so, and sometimes that inspiration is just the dancer not being able to do what they did, so they do and inspire the And other thing is it's just like what we think is we try to study their movement, and we try to do exactly the same thing to understand it, but the goal is to go beyond that and do our own thing, but that takes years, so for a little while you're going to see us doing the Berry Brothers.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, when did you start dancing, and was it always swing dancing or tap dances or?
Well, my brief history is I started dancing when I was 8 years old. I did tap, ballet, and jazz, and then I got made fun of a lot. I moved, so I went into sports, and by the end of high school I went back to ballet class, and then all through college I started doing as many dance forms as I could find, and it's pretty much too many to name. But for about 10 years I was always looking for Lindy Hop, and I didn't know the name of it. I'd seen clips of it growing up. I knew the music really well. I always liked jazz music. And it wasn't until really the Lindy Hop came back into popular culture, which was late 90s. One of the turning points for that would be the Gap commercial in the US, which was done in 1998. But I actually got my first Lindy Hop lessons in 95, but before that I was doing West Coast Swing and Balboa back in 93. I lived in California most of my life, so there's a strong tradition of swing dancing in California. So that's my brief history.
I started dancing like when I was 17. Before that I was doing gymnastics, and I did martial arts since I was like 4th grade or something. And then I'll try to do this story short. We started dancing rock and roll, which is not European rock and roll. It's not acrobatic rock and roll.
Special Argentinian rock and roll.
Actually, that don't matter. That's what it is because it's a specific way that they dance down there. But it's just like a 6-count dance to rock and roll music from the 50s. And I was also looking for Lenny Ho, but I didn't know the name when I didn't. Well, there was no one actually dancing that dance there. And then a dancer by the name of Santiago, I don't know his last name, came over to dance tango in Buenos Aires, and he saw us dancing. He was like, oh, that's kind of similar to Lenny Ho. He was like an intermediate dancer at that time, I guess. And he was showing us, he was actually teaching us to swing it, and I was like, what is this? And the cool thing that he did was that he had VHS with videos of the old clips, like House of Popping, the other races, Radio City Rebels, and some Lynn Collins footage too, and A Rock Around the Clock, and Don't Knock the Rock, and like all those movies. And we started watching that and learning from the videos. So I actually learned everything, not everything I know, but most of the things I know from like watching footage. And that's what we did for many years with a group of friends in Buenos Aires, and then I started traveling, went to Laurent for the first time. It blew my mind completely, and that's how I started.
How do you get to relax when you are traveling? What's the relaxing? What do you use for relaxation?
Well, I have a hobby which is playing cards, and I do like magic tricks, I guess.
Yeah, you showed them in Budapest. I remember.
Okay. So that's something that I do, and that relaxes me when I'm like practicing the sleight of hands and whatnot. And then I guess we listen to music, and I've used the internet. I guess that's
Juan uses the internet. I use it as a tool of education.
Exactly. That's right.
And communicating with the world and staying in contact with my friends and family. On occasion, I have been known to abuse the intertubes. I like to use the Google machine.
The Google machine.
GOOGLE.com.
What?
Wow. You can search for anything on the Google machine.
Damn.
No.
Okay.
But one of the ways I relax actually is I try to take trips that don't relate to dancing. That's all possible. But it's actually hard to do because I'll be on a trip for a while without dancing, and I think I kind of want to go dancing. That happens. In fact, I went on a motorcycle trip, kind of with the intention not to dance too much, but I ended up spending 10 weeks around Europe in 2005, going from dance place to dance place. But the difference was I wasn't working, so it was actually very relaxing for me.
We went to a jazz festival in Paris. It was not dance related, even though we dance. Anyway, there it's the Django Reinhardt Festival.
Not technically in Paris.
Somewhat so same.
Somewhat so
Some of that.
He flew into Paris and then rented a car and drove.
That is correct. That is correct. That was the case. And
it's the 100-year anniversary of Django Reinhardt.
So that was great. And yeah, when I really want to relax, I go to Balboa events and don't dance.
Because he doesn't do Balboa.
I'm sorry.
Did you know that Django Reinhardt, he lost 3 of his fingers? No, 2.
These 2.
2, yes, these 2. When his
In an
car
fire
burned.
accident.
Yes,
Fire accident, yes.
So is the caravan caught on fire?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah.
Yes.
Pretty fascinating that he could play these fast runs.
Actually, this weekend, among the performers, the headliners were Jason Smith and Chloe Arnold, which are like top-notch tap dancers.
If you don't know them, you should look them up on YouTube.
On the YouTube.
On the YouTube.
Exactly.
Y-O-U.
So I was talking about different things like related to dancing or inspiration and tradition and all that with Jason, and I was telling him about this magician from Argentina who wrote, his name is René Lavand, and he was more famous because he had only one hand. He lost his hand when he was a kid, and he changed the technique in magic tricks because he did all the effects that everyone was doing with one hand. He just changed the way of thinking. And everyone started doing their routines when they actually have 2 hands. Right? And in Django Reinhardt, same thing. What happened was that because of these two fingers were the only ones that he could do certain things and some other things he couldn't. So he would choose notes that you normally would not go reach for because that was what he could do. So he used the resources he had to make something different. And now we have people with 5 fingers trying to do what he was doing. Right? He changes the game changer. And what happened? Jason is really a fan of peg leg baits. Peg leg baits was a dancer who had a peg leg. Like he lost one leg and he had a peg. And because of that reason, he changed all the steps to adapt it to his peg. And
He had a tap on his peg.
yeah, but what happened was that the weight changes will be different, and the sound the tone will be different because of that peg. So he was unique. So he was actually showing me on the spot that time step is like this, but if you had a peg, you would do it like so. And it just changes the look and it changes the sound and it's beautiful. And the wings you're going to do like this and over the tops and like all these different things. He will do the same thing, just different. And he studied peg leg baits among other dancers, and he's really influential on his style. So, and I think that really represents the art form that we do, which is based on struggling and just dealing with whatever is around you and make it work. And from all that pain and tragedy and like difficulty, you just get all this joy and all this inspiration to create art. And I think that is something that you can see repeating over and over, and it's something that we are really related to.
Some dance-related questions. How does your training schedule look like? Is there a regular training schedule?
We would love to have a regular training schedule.
I used to have one.
I used to have
in my former life.
we've both been in sports, and he's been in martial arts. I've been a dancer since I was a kid, so the benefits of consistent training, you cannot deny them. Circus performers use them, anyone who moves with their body uses them, but our constant, non-stop tour schedule pretty much prevents it. So I've tried to develop a series of exercises that I can do on a floor with nothing but my body weight. But it's hard because we're in different time zones, we're exhausted, the unavailability of facilities, sometimes the places we stay, there isn't even room on the floor to do exercises. So we don't stay in shape. That's the bottom line. We want to be in better shape than we are.
Yeah, I think that we are in a particular shape.
Well, yeah.
It's not that we don't have wellness the way we should. Like, for instance, we dance in a particular way, so one side of our body is stronger than the other, one part of our leg is stronger than the other, and for doing what we do, like if you think about the load of work that we do, we're mainly social dancing and doing some teaching. Performing and all that is something that we do as a separate thing, and yes, we would love to do more of that, and to do high quality of that, you need specific training. Now, to be good at social dancing, which is what we do, you need to social dance a lot, and that we do. So we're in shape to social dance, yes.
Okay.
Are we going to get to 90 years old and be all right? Probably not, unless we change our ways. But again, it's hard to do it the way we do it, and there is something else, at least for me, that is related to the lifestyle. There's something that I'm not going to neglect. I'm not going to go to bed at 10 p.m. because tomorrow I have to go work out, when I'm going to go social dance and drink alcohol and just party, which is part of the inspiration for your dancing anyway, because that's what jazz culture is about.
That's half the training.
So you gotta be there, and you gotta to get the spirit. You're not going to get the spirit of this art form doing push-ups, I can tell you that. So I'm here for that. There's a balance there that is important to know.
In fact, earlier Juan and I were just speculating. There's a movement in hip-hop called itch, right? And we're thinking, what's that one point in your life when you want to itch? I'm not saying in your life, but in drug culture, like when you're coming off of a drug, you get the itches.
Yeah,
So
that's
we
what
thought,
I did.
maybe that's actually where it comes from. So, you know, doing a lot of drugs, and you're like, wow, I need a hit.
Yeah, they only do all these things. It's
Yeah.
just like if you see like that's heroin. Like, I mean, that's pretty. Can I say this? It's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
But that's part of the culture. If you listen to the songs, they are talking
Yeah.
they're all the time talking about Chavez. It's the sex, murder, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and that's what it is.
It's just sex, drugs, and swing. That's what we're talking about.
That's
specifically.
right.
Yeah.
Rock and roll. But yeah, we're no rock stars, that's for sure.
So we should clarify. When I was saying we don't feel like we're in shape, we're not in shape for what we're striving for. The things we actually want to do as performers are social. We're like totally in shape for what our livelihood is. Essentially, our livelihood is teaching and social dancing. Totally in shape for that. Can do that a lot. But what we want to do is do high-level performance, which requires consistent training and a body that is in really good condition. And that's our constant barrier. That's our frustration.
And the other thing related to performance is that if you think about the dancers that we look after, they perform every night more than once for years. Their whole life, same act sometimes. So they have the same kind of shape we had with social dancing every night for hours, you know. So they spend a particular amount of time choreographing, and after that, it was performing it every night that make it better. So the rehearsal is just do the number over and over and over and over. And
of course, that's what we kind of wish for that. But we also know some of those people who do that, and some of them have dreams. For instance, we know one in particular. Since a kid, he's been doing the same circus act over and over, and he's really in shape for it. He's really amazing.
And he's one of the best, like top notch
in the world.
In the world, he works like.
And all he wants to do is buy a bar and just serve drinks.
He wants to be.
That's his life goal now.
It's like I would like to be, somewhere like Australia, somewhere hot, and just have my bar there and serve drinks.
Just wash glasses.
And we were like, because
we looked up to him. We felt like he's where we want to be.
It depends on what you want to do and how you make a living. There's so many things there. And the other thing is, in Lindy Hop, the modern Lindy Hop culture is all about what you have new, what's new, what's next.
That's fresh.
Which is like this year choreography. These guys were doing the same act forever, and that's why the level of performance
was so high.
Was so high.
You do the same act for 30 years and tell me you're not good at it.
Right? But we go like, oh, next year, next competition, we gotta show something new. And so you show something new, and it's not as good as if you have been doing it for years. That's just what it is.
We blame YouTube.
Yeah.
We just like put all the fault on YouTube.
It's a hate-love relationship we have with it.
Exactly.
So there we go.
So what's your most unusual dance experience?
Unusual? How unusual? Unusual, I swing out almost naked in the rain. How about that?
Well, I can top his. I actually have swung out naked.
I
played dead jazz routines naked.
I tell you this, I don't remember if I was naked.
Wait, what kind of website is this again now?
About SwingTV.net.
Okay, just checking out.
Yeah.
No problem.
So it brings the new meaning to the phrase "swing out." So your most usual experience was swinging out.
I think that would be considered unusual.
Okay.
Unusual. I don't know if I have to think about another unusual experience. Let me think about it.
I'm trying to think of.
The thing is, at this point, there is nothing that
they don't seem. Yeah, none of it seems unusual.
We did so much like random stuff that I don't think it's as like it would be unusual not to be dancing. I guess that's something unusual.
I think that's true. I think a fun experience. I guess we can talk about a couple of random experiences. One is going to Korea.
I know what's your random experience.
Please tell me.
Barcelona commercial.
Yes. Now there's this is a good one. This is probably my weirdest. So I go to the audition for an ING Banking Direct commercial, and they need dancers, and they need dancers of a certain age. I'm like, oh sweet, I'm old. I'll fit that category, 35 and older. I'm like, I'm in on this. So I go to the audition, and I'm thinking I'm gonna dance my best. So I go in there, and I kill it. I'm like dancing, boom, 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 boom. I get called back. I'm like, that's right. I want a dancer. So and then I go to the callbacks, and boom, they want me again. So now I'm in the commercial. Fantastic. I get on set. I'm in Barcelona like at 8 a.m. in the morning. The sun is just starting to rise. I'm setting up. I'm ready to dance. They put me with a random person. I don't know this person. They're actually not a Lindy Hopper, but they can do some dancing. And I start dancing, and they say action. I wait for the music. Music starts. I start dancing. Cut. What do you mean cut? Well, can you just start dancing right when we say action? Of course I can. So they say action, I start dancing, and then the music comes in at some point. And I try desperately to be on beat. But to them, it doesn't matter. They're not concerned. So we're going, and now things are going well. I'm ignoring the music. We seem to be dancing good. And then the director, cut. He comes up and he says, Can you dance a little less perfect? You know, normal? It's like, of course. So, I strive my whole life to dance as good as I can. I try to dance as best I can to make this commercial and make the commercial. They obviously have chosen me for my dancing ability, and once I get on set, they tell me to dance worse. And now I've seen the commercial and it hurts my soul.
But it's hilarious because that's what they wanted. They wanted to like dance like normal people will dance in a wedding dance. It's just like whatever.
The things we do for money, they did pay me. Thing is, it's 2 months later and I still haven't got paid. I have to go back for my money. We'll see what happens.
It's gonna happen. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I think that the saying naked anecdote is pretty good.
He's going to stick to that one.
I guess so, yeah.
Well, dancing naked is pretty unusual, so I guess it's okay.
Alright.
Depends on what crowd you're swinging.
Next question.
Okay.
Next one, okay.
Yeah. I would like to go back to the dancing a little bit. You said that your main practice is dancing socially.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes it a little bit hard to develop things methodically, no?
Correct. And I have to say, the fact that we're in Germany and you're asking us about learning methodically, it seems significant. I actually think that's the joy of it. I think that's partly the jazz culture. I think there's, I get scared actually, honestly, when people get too methodical about their learning.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good to have some structure, and it's helpful in the learning process, but when you want to get creative, many people get stuck because they get so methodical that they prevent themselves from experiencing. I think that's where in jazz culture, where using a lot of drugs, being tired, being up late, gets you in a headspace that is not normal or not regular. So as a result, you end up discovering new things. Almost the equivalent of not having fingers or not having a leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, actually. Just for the record, we are not encouraging you to like abuse drugs or cutting your leg. Just for the record.
If you cut your leg off or fingers as a result of this video, shame on you.
Yes. Well, what I think is that you might think I don't have a method when I'm social dancing, but I do. The fact that I'm social dancing doesn't mean that I'm not thinking what I'm doing, and I'm not trying the same move over and over until I figure out how it works.
Ask any follow-up. Just kidding.
Yeah. But
yeah, but I didn't know. I tried things and I don't even know how it works, and I just keep trying, and girls go like, "What is he doing?" But at one point, there's one girl who, will have the experience of me trying something that I actually already know how it works. Yeah, you just like that is experience too. That's a method. Dancing for hours. That's a hell of like experience.
And you could argue that getting drunk is a method as well.
Yes, that's something that I sometimes do. I have the theory that with 3/4 of a liter of wine, I'm a better dancer.
I am more prone to go into a jam circle if I've had a little bit to drink.
Boom. Now, I don't know if the girl would think I'm a better dancer, but I do.
That's important too.
I think so.
Yeah, that's true. You build up your confidence.
I think that when the method comes, when you have to explain what you're doing. And that's when you're working with your partner and you have to explain how you do what you do. And that's a different thing.
That's actually the main reason I teach. For me, it's a selfish reason. Teaching makes me a better dancer because I'm forced to explain what I do. And through that, I get better.
On the other hand, I always put this example. Hopefully, it's going to be graphic. When I was in primary school, and they were, teaching me arithmetics. They were okay. So 2 plus 2 is 4, right? But you get a little more advanced in your career in primary school, and they say -2 plus 2 is 0. And you go like, whoa, wait, 2 and 2 is 4. They just don't. And yeah, they start telling you more things about arithmetics, and you go like, oh, wait a second, maybe everything is not just like this. And then it keeps going, and then they start, fractions, and then logarithmics, and you go like, but when you're dancing, when you're teaching a class, you go and say, okay, you're going to rock step, or 1, 2. And you go and rock step on 1, 2, and then you think that's a dogma. No, well, there's all those layers. And then there's people probably pushing arithmetics to limits that we are not aware of because we are not mathematicians. And with dancers, it's the same thing. So methods are ways to get people involved in the art and understand kind of what we do. But that's not necessarily what you're going to see me do live. What I teach in the class is mostly exercises and things that makes you get to understand how the body works, but it's way more complex than that, and you're not going to get it from explanations of me telling your right arm going here.
And you won't actually get it from class, you have to go out and do it.
Yeah.